What I've Done. Written by Night Breeze. Read by No One and Nobody. Chapter 6. I'm sure the lush jungle around us would have been absolutely lovely to look at, all things considered. After all, this was clearly an alien world, if the double sun that we saw when the pod opened was any indication of that sort of thing. With this in mind, I could easily extrapolate that the jungle around us was full of interesting alien life forms, a plethora of wonders that would have turned the head of anyone with eyes to see them. Of course, I couldn't enjoy any of it, seeing as how whatever was controlling my body kept my head on a swivel constantly, never pausing for a second to enjoy the scenery. Sure, I could hear the various sounds coming from the deep jungle, the chirps of insects, the growls of animals, and the songs of birds, but all of that was meaningless to me as I struggled with whatever was making me continue my horrible task. Night had fallen as well, though that didn't seem to hinder my vision in the slightest. When the aliens removed my eyes, they must have replaced them with augments that allowed me better night vision. I briefly wondered what other improvements they've given me, but since I had no way to ask about them or to test my body, those would just have to remain a mystery. Speaking of nightfall, we had probably been at this march for hours, our respective bodies deciding to split up at some point. Despite no longer being within sight distance of each other, however, we could still hear each other's thoughts no problem.
"Guys, where are you?"
I heard Stacy ask, her thoughts trembling slightly in worry.
"I can't be sure. The thing keeps turning my head too fast for me to get my bearings. I'm honestly just trying to figure out how it's able to keep track of everything when it moves like this,"
I answered, a little scared at my lack of knowledge.
"Where are you?"
"I'm in a tree overlooking the fortress that we were sent to attack. I think the weapon they had me pick up is some kind of sniper rifle. Based on the scope I'm looking through on the top,"
she said, just as my form finally stopped turning its head.
Guys?"
I said, as I finally realized where it was.
"I think I'm right at the entrance to the base."
Although I've never had any experience with alien bases on alien worlds, the distinct presence of a gate made me pretty sure that this was indeed the entrance. The base itself looked fairly small, consisting of only 5 medium-sized buildings and a single large one. The architecture of the buildings was pretty fascinating, the designer preferring the honeycomb shape in all of his design choices, as well as a focus on function over form. If I were to take a guess, using the appearance of the buildings and nothing else. The fence that surrounded the compound was an intimidating piece of work. It was made out of chain link and barbed wire, and, based on the hum, was electrically charged as well. However, as fascinating as all that was, I couldn't really bring myself to care. My focus was instead centered on trying to stop my body from attacking that poor guard on the other side of the fence.
"I am there too, but I can't see you. I think I might be on the other side of the compound from where you are,"
I heard Casimir say as I crept closer to the fence, my weapon slung behind me as I approached him. The guard looked pretty normal, all things considered. He was wearing a full-body suit, so I couldn't see any defining features. However, he possessed what looked like a vestigial lizard tail, and his head had a distinct reptile vibe, based on its shape and how it sat on his shoulders. His suit was a dull gray color, and I could see a red triangle flanked by a pair of white wings emblazoned on the chest plate of his suit.
Guys, my body is sneaking up on someone, but I don't have a weapon drawn. What am I about?"
Amelia started to say, but suddenly cut off before she was able to finish her sentence. Before I could even think about asking her what had happened, my body took a single standing leap over the 10-foot-high fence, landing feet first on the poor guard's shoulders, causing his form to collapse to the earth. I heard a groan from beneath me, and he started to move in a shaky, groggy sort of way, as he tried to defend himself from the onslaught above him. I was impressed by his durability, but sadly my body seemed rather annoyed, based on how it unsheathed freaking foot-long claws from my fingertips. The alien stiffened as my claws tore straight through his armor, biting into his soft flesh underneath. Strangely, though, even with all the punishment that he had taken up to this point, he still wasn't dead. My controlling body seemed to realize this faster than I did, however, and lunged forward to take a bite out of the guard's throat, forever silencing him. If I had control over my body, I would have lost my lunch over what just happened. I could taste his blood in my mouth, the texture of his flesh and armor, the feel of the warmth of his life in my jaws, and the tremble of his body as fear and pain racked through him. What was worse was that I found him delicious. With a quick jerk, I ripped the poor soul's throat out, then spat out the armor that I had torn off with his throat. Only the armor, however.
Guys, I just ate this guy,
I thought, trying desperately not to scream out in my horror at my friends as I swallowed.
I did too. Guys, why do these people taste good?
Amelia asked in horror.
They must have done something to us, made us into real monsters,
Casimir said with disgust.
We can probably eat raw meat without needing to cook it anymore.
I don't know about you guys, but if we ever regain control of our bodies again, I'm probably never going to touch meat ever again,
Stacy said faintly.
You and me both, sister,
Amelia said as my body picked up the newly made corpses of the reptilian alien in front of me.
I don't think that's possible. They may have made us strictly carnivores,
Casimir thought grimly as I leaped over the fence, quickly hiding the body I was carrying in the bushes.
That's an unsettling thought,
I thought as my body started to stalk another guard.
Oh crap, I'm on another one. Please, oh please, whoever you are, just turn around, quickly, before I kill you. I don't want to kill anyone else.
As it turned out, however, that was only the beginning of the bloodshed for me.
They made you eat people?
Gustav asked in horror. Alex's response was to hang his head in shame.
I know, not fault, but still know how taste. Alien make people taste delicious.
He gulped uncomfortably.
Disturbing. Hated self for a long time after. No matter, not fault mine. Still can't forget.
What sort of monsters would do such a thing?
Celestia thought, as rage began to build within her heart. She glanced at her sister briefly, their eyes meeting only for a second. However, contained within that second was a promise, an agreement to bring judgment to the ones responsible for the horrors wrought upon the human in front of them. It wasn't exactly a promise to avenge Alex, specifically, although that would have been a definite bonus, all things considered. It wasn't even a promise to avenge his fallen brothers and sisters. No, it was a promise to stop those monsters before anyone else suffered their abuse. Celestia and Luna had spent a long time protecting Equestria from all manner of threats, disposing of any evil thing that came to threaten their little ponies, and ensuring that peace and happiness reigned throughout their land. These alien psychopaths opposed everything that the princess had stood for. Not only had they abused Alex and his people, but they had also violated the sanctity of life and the sanctity of choice. Their actions had been carried out with such a degree of callousness that even Tyrek would have recoiled in horror. That being said, the only mercy that these aliens could hope for from the two alien princesses was the mercy of stone. The uncomfortable silence that followed Alex's previous statement seemed to last forever, until it was finally broken by Gustav's delicate cough.
I apologize, but as distasteful as all of this is, I really need you to continue your story,
he said a little hesitantly. Alex nodded at this, then furrowed his brow as he tried to remember where he left off.
We pick off many guard, not let any survive. They not know we there until kill many guard. They sound alarm, feel happy. Maybe they stop us, and are suffering. Not know what we were, not know what they face.
Elation flooded my mind as I heard the siren call of the base's alarms, each call of its high-pitched whine a balm on my soul.
Oh, thank goodness, the madness will end,
I heard Amelia say.
I certainly hope so. After all, there is only 4 of us. This base looks like it probably houses somewhere around 30 soldiers at any given time. We've only killed about 7 of them, so I'd put money on them wiping us out pretty quickly.
Casimir thought hopefully.
Won't that mean our deaths?
Stacy asked uncertainly.
That was the general idea, yes. The aliens aren't ever going to let us go. We can't even move under our own power, so escape isn't an option. No one is looking for us, so rescue is out of the question. Our only hope for release from this living nightmare is a swift and merciful death.
I thought grimly. There was silence from her end as my body leaped to the top of the closest building and crouched down to avoid being seen.
I guess that makes sense,
she said hesitantly.
Trust me, even if we were to be sent to hell afterwards, it would still be a far better fate than this one,
I reassured her. Before anyone could say anything else, however, my eyes suddenly focused on a group of 6 soldiers making their way around the complex perimeter.
I'll see you on the other side, guys,
I thought hopefully, as my body completely disregarded the weapon on its back, instead opting to leap from the roof of the building, crashing into the soldier in the lead with reckless abandon. The soldiers seemed surprised by my sudden entrance and ferocity, but that was to be expected when an alien monster comes out of nowhere and starts munching on your buddy. That being said, they were pretty quick on the uptake, lifting their weapons almost immediately to defend themselves against my ravenous attacks. My muscles bunched up underneath me, and for a brief second, I could see the trajectory that the alien weapon's projectiles were going to make through the air. Before I was even able to contemplate this odd abnormality, my body lunged forward, twisting and contorting in the air as they let out a bone-chilling, soul-rending howl. Somehow, I managed to dodge each and every green jet of flame that was shot at me, dancing through the remaining 5 guards like some sort of demented street performer. Every so often, a claw would dart out, slashing at a throat here or piercing a helmet there, until the air was filled with the screams of the fallen, and I was left the only one unscathed.
Guys? I think the Gemini are going to need more men,
I thought to my friends.
I just murdered these guys, just like something out of one of those crazy samurai fics, where somehow the guys with swords are able to beat the guys with guns. Seriously, guys, there is so much blood here. I think you're right, Alex. I just killed 3 over here, no problem. This is really bad,
Casimir said, his thoughts no louder than a whisper.
It's worse than you know. I just took out 6,
I thought back.
Please, just shoot me already. I can't take this anymore,
I heard Amelia say, her voice filled with anguish.
I don't really think that's going to happen, Amy. I'm watching you through my scope, and somehow you're dodging things that I'm sure you had no way of knowing that they were coming,
I heard Stacy say.
I don't want to watch this. Why are they doing this?
I don't know, Stacy. I just don't know,
I said as I lunged towards another group of soldiers. To say that we made short work of the compound would be a gross understatement. We made mincemeat of that place, leaving none alive, and even going so far as to go room to room to ensure that we had gotten everybody. As soon as that grisly task was complete, Stacy came down and joined us at the compound, her rifle slung over her shoulders.
Why did they give us guns in the first place?
I asked in dismay.
It's not like we ever needed them. They never stood a chance with what those monsters did to us. I think they gave them to us as insurance. They put a lot of time and effort into us. It would be a waste if one of us died in a freak accident,
Casimir said bitterly.
I'm not a monster. I'm not a monster,
Amelia started to repeat over and over again, clearly distraught over what had happened.
Amelia, please. We know you're not a monster,
Stacy said gently, clearly worried at her friend's state of mind. However, no matter what we said to her, we couldn't seem to draw her out of the shell that she had built around herself. At any rate, despite Amelia's worsening mental condition, our bodies continued to pitilessly search the compound, only stopping after they had found what I presumed was the base's computer core. It was a long white crystal with a number of thin metal spikes embedded into it in a ring around its center. Suspended by these spikes and surrounding the crystal was a thick circlet of metal. The surface of the metal was covered with intricately laid circuitry, spreading across its surface like some kind of weird techno-spiderweb. As much as the old me would have squeed at the mere thought of examining alien tech, the current me had trouble mustering the will to even care. As I picked up the artifact, all I could think about was Amelia, the others back in that infernal lab, and what all of this was doing to us. I didn't realize it at the time, but the senseless slaughter and the subsequent hunt afterwards had broken me. I tried to put on a brave face for Amelia, just like how Casimir was doing, but the simple fact remained. I had lost all hope. The trip back to the pod seemed to take no time at all. Unsurprising, considering that I spent the whole time trying to coax Amelia out of her shell.
"It's no use, comrade,"
Casimir said with a sigh.
"She needs to be held, to have her hair stroked, to be told that everything is going to be okay."
We all need that, Kaz,
Stacy thought as we sat down and strapped ourselves in.
Why didn't they make me shoot anyone, though?
Sorry? I asked, slightly confused by her statement. You're disappointed that you didn't get to kill anyone?
No, I'm bewildered. Whatever's controlling me kept me moving my scope back and forth to keep an eye on each of you. But it never had me shoot any of the aliens. Why?
She asked, slightly annoyed at what I had implied. We just sat there in silence as the pod lurched upwards, rumbling as it left the alien world behind. Minutes turned into hours as we thought over what had happened, trying desperately to make sense of all this.
Maybe they were testing us?
Amelia said, finally breaking the silence.
"Amelia, are you okay?"
Casimir asked slowly.
No, I'll never be okay. None of us will. But I'll manage,
she thought, clearly exhausted from the ordeal.
But back to the original topic at hand. I'd say we were being put through our paces, to use a racehorse analogy. But why?
Stacy asked, her thoughts trembling slightly.
Why use us like that? Why use those innocent people as our test? That I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know,
Amelia said grimly. The human took a long, shuddering breath, rubbing his eyes with his gray, sickly hands as he did so.
"We returned ship. Others happy that back, until hear what happened. They scared. They know what are now. They know what do. Dark time. Dark thoughts. Fear throughout. Not know how escape. Thought life over."
How did you keep sane throughout that ordeal? How did you come out of something like that without losing your mind and soul in the process? Gustav asked, his eyes widening in horror.
Not. Come out broken, shattered, not whole. Think about ending several times. Once go legend, stand there, looking out. Trying, working brave to death, to see friends again.
Alex said with a shake of his head.
But not do. When went ledge, hear voice. Voice of love, speak to me. Tell me no, tell me stop, tell me stay. Voice say heart have, voice say not gone. Voice challenge, remember promise. Not just to friends, but to love. Tell valiant lady, never give up. Tell her fight, promise never take no as answer. Never let thing pass, never let life crush. Promise to fight for life.
Everyone was silent as they mulled over the human's words. Then, unexpectedly, the human looked up from his hands and, oddly enough, smiled at the assembled dignitaries.
Must say, glad that listened. Glad that held on to promise. Better life now. Not run dark, not eat people, not follow orders. Have bed, have good food, have new friends. Live for self. Keep promise to valiant lady, and other promise to old friends.
Alex took a deep breath at that, idly messing with the spoon from his tray.
We promise, if any survive, even one, that one lives,
Alex said, hope burning in his eyes.
Not just survive, one live, one move on, one find happiness, forgive self. Take long time, still not there, but working, getting better every day. Everyday gift, everyday blessing. Should have died in crash, but didn't. Friends not die in vain. Friend live on, in me.
There was a moment of silence after this pronouncement. Not an awkward one, but more out of respect for the fallen.
If if not any trouble. When better, can see bodies?
Alex asked uncertainly.
Of course you can, Celestia said with a nod. You don't even have to ask.
Thank you. When ship crash, not time pay respect. Thought ship explode, get away before happen. Hurt too. Had find shelter, place heal. Not time say goodbye.
Alex said with a smile. That's something that's been bothering me, actually. You said that you were being controlled, so how were you able to escape? How were you able to free yourself to fight back, causing the ship to crash in the process? Gustav asked in wonder. The human smiled sadly at that, his eyes filled with a profound sadness and loss.
It start after get back from first test. We back into tanks. We talk, we plan. We try think way out. Not sure how get out, but no death, better option than staying.
If you're enjoying this reading, consider checking out the non-copyright infringement version available on Amazon Prime. See link in video details for more information.